on that? It's my favorite. If I were a... That's what we're going to be talking about today. The if question. Okay? So, I want you to take a moment, please. And let's get a little quiet in the room as everybody settles down. Try and get the slide working. Can we go to the next slide, please? Move through. Okay, let's try it. Okay, we played the root tube. I want to ask you the 3 questions here. I want you to take a moment or two to complete the question for yourself. If I were, what's your personal if I were? Think about it. What's missing? What's missing in your life? Please think about it. What do you need? All of us are like Tevye the Milchika. We all ask this question of the Almighty. If I were, why can't you grant me my deepest wishes and heart's desire? So, I want to ask you a question. Spoke about optimism last night. Which one are you? Okay. If you are like me, a deeply anxious and pessimistic individual, you look at this and I'd say, which one are you? And I would say, glass half empty. Those who see life as glass half empty, please raise your hands. There's no shame. Every pessimist is a disappointed optimist. Okay, optimists in the room. How many see a glass which is half full? Raise your hands. The optimists are in the majority. Wonderful. Okay, anybody in the room who looks at that glass and says the answer is, it ain't half empty, and it ain't half full. Third answer. Anybody got a third answer? There's always one. Great. Maybe if we have time, we'll get your answer. Okay. So, the late Stephen Covey spoke about people who have a scarcity mentality and people who have an abundance mentality. And I'm not going to give you the full text, but people who are scarce, they're anxious, they see life in terms of what they haven't got. And if you like, the people who have an abundance mentality, they always see the glass as half full. They feel blessed. They're happy to give. If you like, the world is maybe divided into givers and takers. You have a scarcity mentality. You ask yourself, what's in it for me? How can I make myself whole because I feel lacking? And if you have an abundance mentality, you feel whole, you feel full, your cup runneth over, and you're happy to give. Okay. So the question we're going to look at today is, what's the Jewish attitude? What's the Jewish answer to the scarcity, abundance mentality, glass half empty and glass half full? Okay. That's more on the abundance mentality. I want to talk to you about jealousy. Is jealousy okay? So in Ethics of the Fathers, because all of us look at people who have more than us, in particular whatever your if-only answer was, or what do I need, there are people out there who've got more of what you and I need than we think we deserve. So hakina v'hataiva, okay, motziin et adam min ha'olam, kavod motzi et adam. We're going to focus on jealousy. Jealousy takes you out of this world. It detaches you from reality. You live in a fantasy world when you are jealous, and we will explain why in a moment. But on the other hand, everything that God created, every human emotion attribute has its rightful place. So what we see is there is a place for jealousy. There is healthy jealousy. And that is the idea of kin'at sofrim tarbeh chokhmah. That jealousy amongst the sages, amongst the scribes, increases wisdom. In other words, you can have a jealousy which is productive because it spurs people on to greater heights. Okay, so the jealousy depends on the context. Okay, when is it appropriate to be jealous? So you can see here the quote from Hayom Yom. I always like, one of my teachers said, quoting the Aleinu prayer, Asher b'shamayim mimal, val haaretz mitachat. When it comes to heavenly matters, the people you should be looking at, who are your role models, are the people above you. Those are the people who are better and bigger than you. Look up to them. Aspire to be like them. Okay? Usually it's the other way around in life. People who are more religious than us, whichever end of the spectrum you're on, if somebody is more religious than me, they're a sugar frum. Okay? If they keep one thing less than me, they're a heretic. That's the way we think. But no, when it comes to religious matters, spiritual matters, admire, envy, emulate the people who are greater than you. Now, what about points of comparison when it comes to the physical world, material goods? Who are the people I should be benchmarking myself against? I come from an industry which is all about benchmarking. Okay? Benchmark yourself against those who are less fortunate. That's what this quote has to say. Now, what's interesting here is the Chafetz Chaim, great Lithuanian Jew and sage, he says that envy falls into one of two camps, okay? There's what my mother always says, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. If you want to imitate somebody who you see as being better than you, or more gifted than you, or having a better character than you, that's great. Imitation is because you don't want to take away from them. You want to imitate them. They're your role model. But there's a kind of jealousy, in the Yiddish word is to vergin somebody. I'll be damned. That person. Why has he got that? He doesn't deserve it. In fact, you could call it ayin hara. You look at a person and you look at them in a negative way, a bad way, and that exudes a negative energy, which, God forbid, can impact them. Okay, so we see here that there are two kinds of jealousy. But I want to go back to my question, which was, is the glass half empty or is the glass half full? And give you a uniquely Jewish answer, a third way. Now let's discover what that's about. But let's first have a look at the following text. Anybody recognize this text? I'm sorry I haven't got the English translation. It's the daily blessings that we say, Birkot HaShachar, in the morning. Okay? So I'll just run you through the translation till the one in the red, because that's the one I want to talk about. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, gives energy to the tired. Rokal atzamayim, who spreads the earth upon the waters. Hamechim mitzadei gaver, who sets up the steps of man. Okay? And the one that I want to concentrate here is, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, blessed are you, Lord our God, she'asa li kol tzarki, who has made, has fashioned, everything that I need. Anybody notice something interesting here in the grammar of these blessings? What's the tense of the first three? Ha-noten, past or present? Rokar et l'hamayim, past or present? Hamechi mitzadei gaver, past or present? She'asa li kol tzarki, past or present? Past. I'm waking up in the morning, and I'm saying this blessing, and I'm saying, God, you have already, it's dawn, it's daybreak. You've already given me everything I need. It's all done. It's a done deal. And this is reflected, really, this is the way that perhaps we should approach life. So I'm going to suggest to you, and we'll talk about it later, in answer to the question, is the glass half empty or is the glass half full? If I've been given a glass that's half empty, it's full for me. The glass is full. Because the good Lord wants me to have a half glass. That's my allotted portion. And he's given me absolutely everything that I need. So, I like this because this is particularly for the businessman. But it applies to all of us. This is the Hayom Yom, the thought for the day in the Chabad calendar. Notice one must be truly happy and cheerful as though all your livelihood already in hand. You get up in the morning, you're anxious. Where's the next deal going to come from? Where's the next paycheck going to come from? What's my financial future look like? Don't worry. It's all done. It's a done deal. All you need to do is go out there and pick it up. Access it. Okay? Now, I want to share with you two models of looking at our allotted portion in life. One is the Esav model, the Esau model, and one is the Jacob model, the Yaakov model. Okay, so let's have a look at these two models. Now, if you remember the encounter between Jacob and Esau when they meet again after many, many years, and Yaakov has just really had to pay off Esav with the most enormous bribe. And they're, discussing their relative positions and where they've got up to in life. They're catching up after all these years. The boy done good or the boy ain't done good. Okay? So Esav says, Yesh li rav, achi. I have a great deal. I'm doing good. And as a consequence, Yehi lach asher lach. I'm happy for you to have, Jacob. You seem to also have done good. That's fine. Plenty to go around. Now, if we look at Yaakov's answer, Jacob's answer, he doesn't say, I've got a lot. He says, Yesh li kol. He says, take my blessing, which I brought you, because God has favored me. V'chi yesh li kol. I have everything. Now, I'll ask you a question. If somebody in life, you meet somebody in life, and somebody says, I've got a lot, and you've got to meet another person, and that person says, I have everything. I don't know. To me, the I have everything piece comes across a little arrogant. Wouldn't you agree on the surface, face value? So what's actually going on here in these two models of relating to one's allotted portion in life? So let's go deeper. Okay, so I want to go to the deeper meaning. Have we got any Jews here of Moroccan or North African descent? Nobody? You're all Litvaks? Oh, we have a few. I've, in the last 10 years, got into the whole field of Jewish mysticism. It's a wonderful new world which has opened my eyes to think and transform my thinking, particularly about money and the way we relate to money and wealth. And one of the great classic sources for this is Rabbi Chaim Ibn Ben Attar, Adar Chaim, born in Meknez, but as you can see, he made the journey to Jerusalem. And if you go to Har HaZeitim, on Mount of Olives, you'll find his grave. One of the great classic mystical commentaries on the Torah. Okay? We're going to see what he says in a minute. Okay, so what he says is, and I'm going to go through the whole Hebrew. This idea of kol, everything, is a mystical concept. Wholeness, completeness. Okay? And he says, there's an aspect of kedusha, of holiness, which is described as, or called kol. And what that means in practice is that when a person goes through life and stuff happens, and it seems like you're in a position where you are making a loss. Now, Jacob just had to pay off Esau big time. That's a big time financial hit that he had to take on the chin. But Yaakov says no. Yesh li kol. I've got access, says Orach Chaim HaKadosh, to kol, to everything, and to completeness. And what that means is I can have the confidence that the Almighty will make me good. He will make me whole. Yesh li kol. I've had a big payoff here. I've had a big hit in life. We have hits. We have losses, financial losses, other kinds of losses. But if you're tapped into the Yeshli Kol, God will make you whole. God will make you good. And that's what's going on here. Just like the Jewish people are compared to the sand on the shore, on the seashore. Because what happens when you make a hole in the sand? Sand comes and fills it automatically. So that's what kol is all about. Okay? Now, is this familiar to you? This blessing of being able to tap into this mystical dimension of kol. Anybody recognize this? It's benching. Grace after meals. Birkat Hamazon. So Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they're in contact with Bakol, Mikol, and Kol. And by the way, in benching, we also say in the second paragraph, Ve'al HaKol, for absolutely everything. That Kol Tzorki that we mentioned in the morning, all my needs, everything I need in life, you've already done for me, you've already provided for me. So it's not just Jacob who can access this, friends. All of us access it on a daily basis. You have a meal, you break bread, you say Birkat HaMazon, you can tap into this. Okay, now what are the source verses? This is coming out of the Gemara. I just want to go into the red. So Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and the Lord blessed Abraham with everything. Isaac, it is written with regard to him, I've eaten from everything. So all the Hebrew word is kol. Jacob is written with him because I have everything. Yeshli kol. So this is what's being, if you like, handed on a platter to us from our forefathers. Okay? Access to kol. Access to everything. Now, I'm in the financial markets. For me, it's all in the numbers. So let's do some number analysis together. Okay. Kol. What's the numerical value of kol? Chaf, 20, lamed, 30, equals 50. What's the significance of 50 in the Jewish tradition? Jubilee year. The Jubilee year is what year? 50th year. Okay. How many gates of wisdom are there in Jewish mystical thinking? 50 gates of wisdom. Okay? Now, let's go further with this. What's the modern Hebrew word for economy? Kalkala. Okay? What's the origin, what's the root of the word kalkala? Kol. Everything. And if you think about it, again, in the daily Amidah, which we say 3 times a day, or whenever you say it, we talk about God being mechalkel chaim bechesed, which is usually translated as sustaining all creatures or sustaining life itself with loving kindness. Because I've got a little secret to share with you after 30 years in the markets and observing the way economies work. It's all, forgive my French, it's all a bloody miracle. The whole thing is a miracle. It's just a miracle the way everything works, despite everything that we human beings manage to throw at it. Nevertheless, thank God, most of the time, we can all make a living. People survive, people thrive, and I'm not just talking about the Jewish people. It's Mechalkel Chaim. Every living creature, God's taking care of. It's a bloody miracle. It's kol. There's something unreal about it all. And particularly if you think about a modern economy where everything is based on paper money. I can understand it. Back in the old days when everything was based on gold and silver. But now, I mean, this paper stuff, which, the central banks just print and print and print and print, it's an even bigger miracle, the modern economy with all its complexity. Okay, so now let's play the numbers game on the chalkel. Okay, it's twice 50 is 100. Okay, what's the significance of the number 100 in Jewish thought. Now this is tougher. 50 I know about. 7 I know about. 49 I know about. 8 I know about. 100? Okay, I'm going to share with you the secret of 100. Gratitude therapy. What's the gratitude therapy? What's it got to do with 100? Tanya haya Rabbi Meir Omer, chayav adam levarech me'a berachot bechol yom. A person has to bless and make benedictions, to bless God 100 times a day. We Jewish people, we're the inventors of gratitude therapy. Okay? In fact, the rabbis talk about on Shabbat, where you don't have the 3 long Amidah prayers with 18 brachot in, how are you going to make good the 100 brachot? This is a halachic question. And that's why in many communities people make a point of having extra fruit and making different brachot in order to make up the 100 brachot. It's about 100. Now, really where it gets interesting, okay, is what's the source for the fact that we have to make 100 blessings? So, Rabbi Meir derived it from the verse in Dvarim, Ve'ata Yisrael ma Hashem Elokecha shoel me'imcha, and the verse continues, Ki im le'yira oto. What does God ask of you? Okay. He asks that you fear him. That's all you have to do. It's simple. Very simple. Keep it simple and stupid. Ki im le'yira oto, that's all the Jew has to do. Have yirat shamayim, fear of heaven. As the rabbi said, Hakol bidei shamayim. Hakol, everything kol bidei shamayim is in the hands of heaven. Chutz, except for mirat shamayim, the fear of heaven. There we have free choice. That's not apportioned. That's not cut out and distributed to us. Everything else is. Okay, so my question to you is, how's that a source? How do we get from ma, which is numerical value 45, to 100? So it's a nice rabbinic wordplay. He said, okay, Rabbi Meir said, Al tikrei, do not read ma. What? Read mea, 100. The wordplay, rabbinic wordplay. Rabbis like to play games with words. We're into numbers. We manipulate the text, etc. Is that what's really going on here? So here I want to share an insight with you. A profound, profound insight from the Lubavitcher Rebbe, where the Rebbe says, this ain't no wordplay. This ain't rabbis playing games. He says, read the pasuk as Ma Hashem shoel me'imcha. What? To pose the question what? Ma. That's what Hashem asks of you. Let's talk about the Hebrew word for wisdom. Chochma. Say the Kabbalists. Chochma is the same letters as koach, the power, the ability. Koach ma, the ability to ask what. You see, friends, wisdom is not about clever answers. Wisdom is about asking good questions. So the source of wisdom is the ability to ask the question, the key questions, the important questions. What? What on earth are we doing here? I have a friend who likes to go up to people and he says to them, what's really going on? Get some very, very interesting answers. It's all about wisdom, is about what? And when you bring that sense of wonder, that questioning, that curiosity to the world, you begin to appreciate that as a result of the ma, the what, the answer to the question is the letter Aleph. The letter Aleph, Aleph Lamed Pei, also, explains the Rebbe, spells Pele. What does Pele mean? Pele means wonder. When you ask the question, what? You look at the world and you say, what's going on? You look at the universe and how wondrous it is. You look at the human body and how brilliantly it's engineered. If you ask the question, what? You may not have the answer, but you will have a sense, friends, of wonder. Pele. The whole world, it's just amazing. You just have to watch David Attenborough's show. It's fantastic. I recommend it to anybody. If you want to be a believer, watch David Attenborough on the BBC. Now, what's interesting is take the word for Pele, answer, wonder, and it also spells Aleph, which spells one, letter one. You see, the answer to every question of what really comes back. The answer to the question of ma. And by the way, 45 ma is the same gematria numerical value as Adam, a human being. Because to be a real human being, you have to be able, what distinguishes us from the animals is the capacity to ask questions. What? And the answer comes back loud and clear from the sense of wonder of Pele. Aleph. The one and only. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. One. So can you see how we've gone from Ma Hashem Shoel Meimcha? What does God ask of you? And by the way, to ask a question shows great humility. Because there are people in life who think they know all the answers. We don't know all the answers. The starting point is to recognize, as the sages and the Kabbalists say, Tachlit hayediah shelo neda. Where do you reach the very peak, the summit of knowledge? When you realize that you don't know. And then you come back from Ma and you describe a journey of Ma and you get into Me'ah. You inject the Aleph. You inject the sense of wonder from your question and you come back to the Almighty, to the Echad, and you've gone from Ma to Me'ah. And that's why it ain't no wordplay. It's about gratitude. Now, by the way, anybody know how many silver sockets there were which stood at the base of the sanctuary in the Mishkan? It's 100 silver sockets. Because gratitude therapy is the fundamental yesod. It's the foundation for everything else that follows in Torah. Okay. Now, I want to talk to you about, because I'm into Kabbalah, this you'll be familiar with. We have 10 Sefirot. We haven't got time to talk about it. But the very different 10 emanations of the Or Ein Sof, of the divine infinite light. But what's interesting is, the Kabbalists say that within each of the 10 Sefirot are to be found the other 10 Sefirot. So you have Chochmah Shebechochmah. You have Bina Shebechochmah. You have Da'at Shebechochmah. 10 times 10, it's 100. So when you look at the world through this mystical vision, through this mystical perspective, you see, what you see is not just the 10 Sefirot, you see the 10 Sefirot and the 10 Sefirot which lie within each and individual of the 10 Sefirot. Says Rabbeinu Bachai, the great Spanish commentator and Kabbalist, this is why we make 100 blessings every day. So, going back to my question, is the glass half empty? Is the glass half full? The answer is kol. It's full. Whatever its position is, if it's been allotted to us, that's our portion. And that removes tremendous stress and anxiety in our life to accept that this is our portion, and all we need to do is go out there and access it and pick it up. Okay, so going back to our models, Model 1, Model 2, we started our session by my posing to you the question, if I were, and you completed it. I also completed it. I asked, What's missing in your life? I asked you, what do you really need? And the answer, my friends, and I know this is tough love from the Almighty, but he's a great believer in tough love, is Yesh li kol. Just like Jacob said, just like Yaakov said, I got everything. Asali kol tzarki. I get up in the morning, God's given me absolutely everything I need. It ain't 99.99999. It's 100%. Okay. Yesh li kol, Rashi says that it means the kol is not an expression of arrogance. It means I have everything. It means I have everything that I need. Yesh li kol sipuki. In Chassidut, we talk about midat hahistapkut. Hahistapkut is to be satisfied, truly satisfied, with one's portion in life. I'm going to tell you a wonderful story, Hasidic story about Reb Zusha of Ampoli, the famous holy Reb Zusha of Ampoli.
There was a Jew who went to the Monument of Mezrich, bitterly complaining about his poverty and how life had really treated him so unfair. And the Monument of Mezrich said to him, the answer I have very captain. If you want to see real poverty, if you want to see somebody who is being dealt every possible bad hand and bad card in life, go to Reb Zusha. And compare yourself to Reb Zusha. So off the man toddled to Reb Zusha. And he goes to Reb Zusha and he says, the Maggid of Mezrich sent me. And he asked me, to ask you, how's life? Because I understand you have a really tough and a really miserable life. Reb Zusha says, he says that to me. To find out what he did for the tough life. He said, life is great. It couldn't be better. I have everything I need. As they say, it's all in the mind. So let's move on. Eric Fromm wrote a famous book called To Have or To Be. In life, we can concentrate on having, or we can concentrate on being, and he advocates that we'll be much happier if we're about being rather than having. So I want to finish up with the power of the Hebrew language. Because the Hebrew language is also called Lashon HaKodesh, the Holy Tongue. And according to the Kabbalists and according to the mystics, and in fact according to the rabbis, this is the very language that God created, an alphabet, the DNA for the creation of the universe. Any Hebrew speakers in the room? Please raise your hand. How do you say, I have in Hebrew? No. I asked you the question. How do you say, I have in Hebrew? Third time. How do you say, I have in Hebrew? Yesh. This Djanogly is indeed. Translate Yesh. There is to me. What's the difference between there is to me and I have? Well, I have starts with the I, starts with the ego, and as one of my dear friends likes to say, ego stands for edging God out. So you start with I, that's already a bad starting position. Have. You know where I'm going with this? There ain't no Hebrew word for have. There just isn't. Yesh means there is to me, which means, I'm using the words, applies the Latin, Deus ex machina. There is a God outside the machine, a third party, Yesh li, that is to me, that has assigned to me. Are you with me on this? Yesh li conveys a notion of assignment. And there's just no way of saying I have in Hebrew. Why? Because to use the very language, the very words I have, my friends, is simply not the Jewish way of thinking. If I may be permitted to say, and I am as guilty as the next person, I have is truth. It's plain truth. If you're an authentic Jew, you will say, Yeshu. Now, let's go back to our friend Tevye, the Muslim. If I were a rich man. And then we at the face value, there's nothing more authentically Jewish than Tevye. Oh, I love that. I love that shit. If I ever were an actor, I'd love to play it. But my friends, if I were, it's awesome. The if word, amongst the sitting that have an expression, would have, could have, should have, is heresy. Why is it heresy? Because whatever has happened to you, and whatever is going to happen to you, that's because it's being decreed upstairs. You have freedom of choice, and that's an interesting tension between the two. That's not the subject for this session. But nevertheless, a Jew does not live their life in the subjunctive. There is actually no subjunctive tense in the Hebrew language. There is in the Romanian. The Jew doesn't do if I will. That's the subjunctive. If only, could, should. No. What we're about is, as one of my great teachers, Djanogly, used to say, the greatest present is the present. Don't live in the past, if only. Don't live in the future, if only. Live here in the present. And the wonderful thing is, if you can tap into the Almighty, His name is Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is Hayah, Hover, V'Yeh. What was, is, and will be. He's above time. And we Jewish people are a timeless people. So we can tap into them. We don't need to be slaves of society. We don't need to be slaves of the fantasies of if only, if I were a rich man. That's Hollywood. It's Hollywood, it's great entertainment. But to be an authentic Jew is to get up in the morning and say, She'asa li kol tzom Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, She'asa li kol tzom, that you have made me and fashioned for me absolutely everything I need. Thank you very much.